to the REI hot seat.
Nice.
That felt
We're
good.
gonna start working on intros, guys.
We're
This
gonna
is
trial
this
test
is
it,
something we're doing here.
Welcome. We need somebody with like a
Well, welcome. Thanks for
DJ voice.
tuning in. They've brought in a good one for us today. In our backyard.
Yep.
Right, close to home. So why don't you just dive into location and a little bit about the building?
Yeah. So this is a 12 unit in Oakville.
Okay.
Obviously purpose built. You'll see here. It's a good blend of 1 and 2. BTB is the comments. Seller may consider a VTB. So that's kind of the general tone of it.
Yeah.
There's a few reasons I picked it. One, a lot of what we've been doing is, Kitchener, Waterloo, direct to CMHC, 85% LTV.
Yep.
What you'll find, I know you know this, is when you go to Oakville, Burlington, certainly Toronto, the metrics obviously change, right? And if we kind of set that bar of the expectation that you're going to hit 85% LTV in a core market like that,
Yes.
you're often going to be.
Yeah, and this is really good. Like I like discussing different deal structures, right? And you know, our bread and butter is obviously tertiary markets, secondaries markets.
Yeah.
Right. 85% loan to value. We want to try to maximize the value of the building. And you can get that in those markets right now. So we've been excited about that and just diving in and going, you know, feet first or head first, whatever the saying is, into those. But we also sell buildings in downtown Toronto. We sell buildings in Burlington and Oakville in these A-class markets, let's call them, where you know, your cap is going to be compressed. You're not going to get the CMHC financing as much as we would want, or we can try to. And I'd also love to talk about other types of financing available, right? Because we're starting to see, it's an interesting time in the market where we're starting to see conventional financing come back into play.
Yeah. Good point.
At least I have,
no,
right?
I had to think
just
about it.
A little bit. No, again, CMHC is still kind of the main thing, but there's, I think lately with the sentiment in the market, if I may, I'm going to go into this. I don't want to be negative, but CMHC, people are starting to get a little bit of a bad taste in their mouths for CMHC because of that loan to value. And it's not even the program itself. It's the people trying to leverage these buildings, especially the MLI buildings. I've had 3-4 calls last week, very similar scenarios, right? Similar scenarios that I'm even in, right? It's like you went in a year ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was, purchase these things with CMHC. Now the rental rates have come down, building values have come down, cap rates have inflated, and you have high debt, right? If you're going in with 95% loan to value, MLI level 3, plus the premiums, it's almost 100% LTV.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, I've had a number of people that call me recently and say, "Hey, Jay, can we actually explore conventional financing options? What does that look like? How are the interest rates right now?" And they're actually not too far off CMHC interest rates. You're just not going to get that loan to value. But if that's not your main goal, then we can
very,
look,
very
right?
well said.
So I was excited for this one when you showed it to me 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. No, we see, I used to get this call a lot less now about, Alberta, new construction, 95% LTV.
Yep.
And if you really get into the numbers on that, a lot of those are barely cash flowing.
Yes.
And so if you get any type of pullback, rental rates is a great example, you're actually underwater very quickly.
Yep.
And what we would see was people that would have the ability, let's say, to buy a 12 unit under the standard program here. And they look at it and say, objectively, like if I go out there, I can go buy a 35, 40 unit with the same money. And it's like, well, okay, yes, but your risk profile, your risk premium just went through the roof.
Right.
The variables. How many deals are we seeing now, to your point, that were 95% LTV and you're looking to acquire the building, it's no capital in, and still is not making sense because the debt is higher than the value of the building.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we get that a lot during the intake, which is clients saying,
I was just going to say that. I go, that's why we do the strategic intake, right? This is why we ask you for that call before we work with you. And before we say, we're not going to show you anything until you get on a call with us. And that's so crucial because we need to understand this, just your whole ethos on why are you investing in these things?
we have steered counsel so many people to not go into that position. It's like leverage is a beautiful tool
Yeah.
when exercised properly
Yeah.
with discretion, with intention, and knowing what you're doing. When you push those boundaries, it can become very dangerous very quickly. And unfortunately, some people don't have those discussions, especially on the brokerage on the agency side.
Yeah.
It's just boom, away they go. They do deals and it works until it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And
So
sort of wrapping that back to
yeah,
this,
let's digress back at
which
yeah.
is to the other degree, like just because you can't hit 85% LTV direct to CMHC does not make it a bad deal.
Right.
So the things that our sheet doesn't do, like we don't talk about appreciation, one of the core metrics to being successful in real estate, right?
And I feel
Location
that's
matters.
been the appreciation conversation's been interesting over the last little bit because if anything, we've had depreciation. And so,
Mhm.
that's something that we used to have in our sheets over the last 7 years. And it would be a big component, right? It would be, hey, we're going to look at rental increases. We're going to look at compressing cap rates. We're going to distill down a figure for annual appreciation, which rolls into that ROI number,
Mm.
right? Again, we're not really seeing that. So it not being on the sheet wasn't the biggest deal.
Certainly helps now
It
for
does,
sure.
right? Yeah.
But the idea being, you would think if you bought in an Oakville, you bought in a
Hmm.
Burlington versus a tertiary market, the thing that you're going to expect is when the market recovers, when things go the other way, you're going to see typically a higher appreciation figure,
Yes.
right? All things considered, all things kind of the same. So because of that, some of our clients tend to steer away from this. And what we're seeing is almost a resurgence back to some of these areas, which
Hmm.
Burlington, Oakville's 12 units are tough sales because the big stuff, the big guys will buy it.
Yep.
Right, for sure, it's
Yeah.
gone. So the 12 units, they sort of sat stagnant for a little while, and now there's a resurgence. So that's why we picked it. It's an exciting deal.
Yeah. Long-winded intro, but let's dive into it. Give us some of
Yeah,
the key
okay,
features there. I know we talked
okay.
about the building.
Yeah.
Where in Oakville is this located?
So this is Maurice Drive, so let's have a little Google Maps of that,
Yeah.
just to give you some context here. When the last time we did this, remember? It
I
was
was
by the Little
I
Caesars.
was gonna say, is it how far from a Little Caesars is it?
So do you know it's kind of Rebecca and Kerr?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So you're downtown,
yeah.
right? A really good location. There's actually that's kind of that street there. I actually have toured a few buildings there before.
Mhm.
So that's a little pocket of kind of a bunch of multifam buildings,
Street view.
right? So you can
Yeah,
see
you
there's a
really
bunch
do.
there. So I've actually toured the building, I think, next door. Funny enough.
Beautiful looking
Yeah.
buildings.
Yeah. They're great buildings. They're really your typical kind of 1960s build, concrete, brick.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
that bread and butter building a lot of people are looking for.
and probably pretty easy to assess rental rates when you get into it there too, just
Absolutely.
based on what's going
Yep.
on. So here's a fun note too, and I'm not knocking the agent. This happens all the time. This is very standard. You'll see, hey, this is a 5.10 cap rate.
Yep.
And then when you actually put all of the CMHC assumptions on it,
Yeah.
the
Your
cap rate
guideline.
becomes
Yeah. Yeah.
substantially
And
lower.
and Dave, talking about that for a minute,
Mhm.
that's a really good topic I'd like to dive into.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at these buildings, and for our viewers and listeners and everybody, we always look at the CMHC guideline underwriting, and that's kind of the gold standard across the industry. You talk to most people, that's what they're underwriting. How important is it to look at the CMHC benchmark and then the actuals? If you're following me. So
Yeah.
how important is the actual expenses? Because I'm sure the numbers that the landlord has provided this agent, and I haven't seen his numbers yet. You're gonna go through that with us, but you know, the R&M is usually a big one, right? R&M tends to come in lower when the landlord sends you the numbers,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
They usually don't have a reserve fund
Mhm.
line,
Mhm.
right? So the utilities and stuff, where does that fall under? Um, Management, maybe it's self-managed, right? So I would always put a little bit of management
Mhm.
personally,
Mhm.
but I think that R&M line is a big discrepancy item when you're looking at CMHC standard underwriting and then what the landlord has sent,
Yeah.
because he's sending you 12 months of R&M. Well, maybe he had the lightest R&M year he's ever had the past 12 months. Maybe he did the roof 2 years ago. He replaced some of the appliances. The hallways were painted recently.
Yeah.
So what's your comment on that? And maybe you can just tie that into what
Yeah,
we're
no,
doing
it's a
here.
great
Yeah.
question. So because we're focusing from the buyer's perspective here, we're going to take the higher of the two,
Right.
right? And oftentimes it'll be CMHC's underwriting,
Yep.
which is no surprise, right? Like
Yep.
there's things like property management,
Mhm.
right? So the argument on the listing side is like, well, I don't know if your client is going to property manage or self manage. Like,
Mhm.
why would I need to include that, right? And if, from a listing perspective, I have no idea what financing you're going to use. So what am I going to underwrite this for CMHC,
Right.
right? Um,
And even some CMHC, depending on the qualification of the buyer, CMHC in their LOI, in their COI might actually state, "We need you to have third-party property management." It's actually quite
it's
common
quite
if you
common,
don't have the
quite common experience.
the experience and
Yeah.
the proof. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we think it's a very good standardized litmus test for all buildings, and often it's pretty accurate.
Yep.
But here's an example: the Air Building as an example, basically a brand new, beautifully built building,
Mhm.
and you're running the same repairs and maintenance as a 1910 build
Right.
beat up building that needs a lot of work,
Yeah.
right? So something's wrong there, right? Obviously. So you've got to factor those in. And in fact, for some of those new constructions, we can get into the weeds on those and start pulling it back.
Yeah.
Right. I haven't done that here. This is just kind of your standard.
And I think CMHC's done a really good job with their benchmark
Yeah. Oh
underwriting,
yeah.
right? We've looked at a lot of buildings, and when you dive into the financial statements, if they send them, most of the time they don't, but financial statements are 12-month trailing, or the bank account statements, and you actually look at what exactly are the expenses and what exactly the income. Most of the time, if you spread that over, call it 2-3 years, and you look at how is this building operated over the last 2 years, even, it's pretty darn close to that CMHC
All the
underwriting.
buildings that we've owned or have owned or do own,
Yeah.
every time you do it, you go, damn, it's pretty good.
It's-
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of your standard core, like 1940s to 1970s built. So not the extremes, not the really old, not the really
Yep.
new. It's a pretty good test. Um, s- Last part on your question, if it's a very old building, it's really helpful to get the RNM because it's often a little bit
I-
you find something, right?
Yeah.
What's going on, and
Yeah.
they've been doing cockroaches every year because they have a
Yeah.
cockroach problem. Like
Yeah.
you typically source out some issues. It's been good. Okay. So $4.5 million list price, 12 units, so 375 a door. CMHC's underwriting puts that at a 4.2 cap rate versus a 5.1 listing cap rate.
Yeah.
And again, no shade at the agent. Get it?
Yeah.
Understand? Its actual rent roll, not bad. So pretty good. There's still a lot of lift to the building. So we're about $22,000 a month monthly rental income. Lift on that's probably about 27,000 a month, so not bad. There's no parking, laundry, or storage income
Mhm.
provided. I would suspect that the laundry income at a minimum is there. It just hasn't been provided, so we haven't put it in. So here's the theory. If you did this deal, let's put 4.5% interest because things are
Yeah. Bonds
a
are up a little bit right now.
little bit. You would have to come in at about 63% loan to value. So I would ask you, do you think that are we a little aggressive on price?
Tad,
I don't
right?
think so.
I would.
Where would you like to be?
Okay. Don't quote me on it. Ballpark. I haven't seen the building. I don't know the
Oh,
particulars.
this is the gospel. You're giving it to me. I didn't even tell you
I-
how many ones at two. So yeah, you're
No,
going in a
listen,
bit blind. But
like I think going into Oakville in a downtown location like that, you're going to have very low vacancy. You're going to have really solid tenant base. Um, I'd like to see that at 75% loan to value.
that's going to be my number.
Right.
There we go.
That would be the bare minimum for me. And then from the 75, it's okay. Now, do you want to get creative? Can we try CMHC? What else can we look at? But I would need that number to be conventional 75 or even CMHC 75 at a minimum.
You and I are very aligned.
Yeah. Which is if talking with a lot of the old school ownership guys, right? And the funds and the REITs and the, all these different groups, 75 is a very safe number for exactly the instance. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about a little bit about what the market is right now. Cause that gives you that buffer that if things do drop, if rental rates do come down, you have a fair bit more buffer to absorb that and still have cash flow, in my opinion, right?
Completely agree.
So
That was the exact number I had. So that would put the purchase price at around 3.8 million,
okay,
which is about 317 a door. Okay, that's a 4.95 cap. So
Mhm.
that whole taking all those pieces and mixing it into the potion, that's a sale price that kind of makes a lot of sense to me.
Yep.
If we put an exit cap rate of, let's just say 5.25 for now. Okay,
So
you
you're
want
saying
about
stabilized.
stabilized.
So we go in, let's call it 5 years from now, everything's stabilized,
Yeah, you
turned
snap your
over.
finger
Yeah,
today and
yeah,
you can turn all the tenants start paying
yeah,
market rent, okay?
yeah, 5.25, even 5, right?
Okay, let's put 5. So that's 388 a door exit in Oakville. Kind of makes sense to me. So that would be this is a great example of why you want to do that. We get this asked all the time. Like people are like, well, I'm not gonna, snap my fingers and all of a sudden
Right.
everybody's paying. I get it. But here's an example. At a 5% cap rate, market rents for every unit. Okay. After repair or the stabilized value is 4.67.
Mhm.
If you bought it for 4.5, don't you think that's an overpay? Right? You buy it for $4.5 million. You snap your fingers. This is the most efficient building. It's now stabilized and all of that, you're worth 4.7.
Right.
You got to have some spread
Yeah,
in this deal.
yeah,
So that $3.8 million gives you a pretty solid lift. It's like 800 and something thousands, 25% lift. So it's good. Like that tells a much better story.
yes.
So those are kind of how we can mix this thing in and come out with some type of
Mhm.
value at the end.
And then, yeah, I'd like to look at what's the ROI on the lift? What's year 1 ROI versus,
Mm.
year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's something that we do on the listing side of things is I
Yep.
do indicate, hey, listen, based on inflation of the expenses and increasing of the rent, a turnover ratio, bringing some units to market, we use a percentage for that. What does this look like year over year up to 5 years? We usually do a 5-year unless it's like a 10-year play, then we'll show 10, but,
Yep. Yep.
um, something we like to do as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And something like this, like that is a bit of a more sophisticated analysis that makes a lot of sense, right? As you start to draw these out, because you don't want to be buying this and hoping to repatriate your money in a year. That's not
Mhm.
the style. And multifamily is not really like that,
Right.
right? This is the long-term play. So
Yeah.
yeah, look, a basic, good quality deal in a
Yeah.
good area of Oakville.
What are the mixes of 1s and 2s? Do we have that?
Yeah, we do. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So half. 6 2-bed, 6 1-bed.
Yeah. These are cool buildings, guys. Like I've walked through, I've toured these things. Do you know if the boiler room special's been done?
Oh, that's a great question too. Let's see the photos here.
And the reason I say that is because I've toured, there is a massive boiler room
Oh
on
yeah.
these buildings, like massive.
No comment to that. No photos.
'Kay.
So probably worth a tour.
Something you can explore.
Look, VTBs are options. All these beautiful things here. But the idea is you don't let the VTB steer the price,
No,
right? So where do you like it?
I got a I got a great case study for that.
Do you?
So I was on Facebook last night just on a couple of the off market
As one does in
apartment
the
groups.
evening. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what else am I gonna do? And so there was a post up there and it was a building. And
I know the post, but go
did
on.
you see it?
I think
I
so. Go ahead.
commented on it. I actually asked
Go
for the
ahead.
numbers. And so the post was like, building, vendors willing to give a
83%.
85%
Okay.
VTB, 0% interest for 5 years.
I did see that.
And I had to look at the comments. And most of the comments were like, what's the asking price if you're given that type of terms? Or like, what's the CapEx needed? Or there was some really good comments in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm hoping actually to get the numbers
We
today.
should
I'd
do it.
love to look at
I
it
think
and
I think
bring it on the show.
I think we
Yeah.
may have them now. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
get them?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think makes
That blew me away because that was in my mind. I was like, Dave would say, don't let the VTP steer the deal. I was sitting there and I'm thinking that.
There's
Yeah.
that. And the other one is, okay, I've not seen it. I've not seen the building. Okay. There's the caveat. I would bet you a coffee, because I'm cheap and Dutch, that building sucks. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
How many good buildings have you seen that offer 0% VTB financing?
Yeah.
Why? Why are you gonna like? Sometimes people don't think about this. If you're the vendor, you're the seller, and you're going to give money in a VTB, you're going to lose money every year. There's opportunity cost. You could take that money and you could deploy it somewhere else and you can earn a return from it. So doing a VTB will cost you money, even 3%. That means you decided to loan that money out of 3% that you could have done something else with.
And that's why I
Right?
think most VTBs come out around that 5.5 to 6%, because that's when you start beating inflation, beating some of the
Yes.
the stocks and bond options you can go into, right? Like there's reason behind those
Yeah.
numbers.
We do we've done 4 or 5 VTB deals this year so far, right?
Mhm.
Like most of them are around 2.5 to 3.5%. And the reason that that doesn't align with what you're saying, even though we're saying the same thing,
Yeah.
is they have a price in mind
Yeah.
and we're close, but we're not there. And so the way we're going to go to that price is to bring the VTB terms lower than what you would get,
Yes.
exactly what you said, 5-6%, and work our way down. So that's a math equation to say, hey, we're going to buy it for 4.5. You need 4.7. We're not willing to go there. If you do X, Y, Z, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Done. That's how we come to these deals. That's the
And that's an equation of how does that affect cash flow, right? Like we'll take the VTB, but we still need to achieve the cash flow and the building still needs to operate. We can't kill our operation
Mhm.
to give you this extra price with this VTB. So many times, yeah, I've matched CMHC numbers. So I say whatever the CMHC number is, you're going to match it so
That's
that we can
often
put
done.
you in
Yeah.
second and have this work. Being more of the selling side, of course, I'm going to go 6% off the bat,
It's a
right?
good starting place
I want
to
to see
cut.
some
Yeah.
money for my clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And then I go,
yeah.
6? Are you kidding me? Let's see. And then we go at it. But the idea too is for our listeners, any deal you look at, if your intention is to exit with CMHC, which it often is, okay, you better run those numbers on a deal even if you're getting 80-85%
Yeah.
VTB.
Yeah.
Because at some point that VTB is going to end and you're going to have to exit somewhere.
Correct.
And that's one of the biggest mistakes. People jump in, they get a 2-year VTB, 80-85%, and they're happy as can be. And
Yeah.
then it's time to actually go get CMHC loan. And they're like, holy smokes,
Yeah.
I'm at 70% loan to value.
Yeah.
I don't have the money.
And now you're renegotiating an extension and you're getting screwed because now that is going up to 7-8% interest.
There are people, and I'm not saying it's any of these people we're talking about, that do that style as predatory lending, right? So basically, look, you don't, especially if you work in the proper terms on the VTB as the seller and you don't pay or you can't pay me back, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm taking your building. I'm taking my old building
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Right. So it obviously we're very passionate about this, but it's a really good tool. It's the same thing, leverage, right? It's a really, really good tool if you structure it properly. If you're thinking about doing it, let us, even if you don't use this, whatever, let us look at it and we can run the numbers to say, have you thought of this? Because that's a very scary place to be at the end of a VTB term going, oh my goodness, we're screwed.
Yeah.
So
good point.
Obviously a little passionate about that, but I just don't want to see people get.
We got in the weeds today, guys. Sorry, this isn't not a super exciting one, but it is for us. And exciting. I think we've hopefully left you with a few tidbits on stuff to think about. So anything else to say about this building, Dave?
No, this is on market, still available. If you're interested, reach out, let us know. Happy to show you the numbers. Happy to do some of the analysis you were talking about, which are some of the benchmark figures.
Love it. No, this is a good one. I love that. I love that pocket.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's not by Little Caesars, but there is a grocery store at the end of the street, and there's a Harvey's.
Is there a Harvey's?
There's a Harvey's right at the end of the street if you go down there. So
okay, one last question.
I remember meeting with my client. I was like, "We want to go to Harvey's and grab a burger."
Is it more valuable to be near Little Caesars or Harvey's?
Oof. I'm not a huge Harvey's guy.
I'm not an either. I don't know.
You don't. You eat chicken breast
broccoli.
and broccoli. So it's a silly question to ask you.
Yeah. Not target market.
I don't know. I'd take a Little Caesars. Get some.
Would you
get a little crazy bread?
Probably better. Yeah.
Right? Love that
cheap
crazy
pizzas
bread
too. So that's the way.
It's good. Right on. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sticking around, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.